Hello, friend. My name is Billy Sunday. 100 years ago, every household in America knew my name. I was a dynamic, active preacher, born in a time when churches had become overly formal, weak, and complacent. I was born in a one-room shack in Ames, Iowa, in 1862. My father died fighting in the Civil War before he even saw me. My mother was unable to support my brother and I, so we grew up in an orphanage. I became a vile person. I didn't care about God or morality or ethics. I was all about myself. I had a talent for running, and a lucky break opened up a career with the Chicago White Sox, where I excelled to the point that I set the record for stealing bases. I had money and fame, and many who called me friend, but it was also empty. One day, some baseball buddies and I were walking the streets of Chicago when we came upon an outdoor gospel meeting of the Pacific Garden Mission. They were singing a song that my mother used to sing, so I sat down on the curb and listened. For about a week, I went nightly to the mission for meetings filled with singing, preaching, and testimonies from people whose lives had been changed by God. My heart was touched. Before the week was done, old Mrs. Clark, the wife of the mission's founder, approached me, and that night my life changed forever as she led me to Jesus. Everything was different after that. I walked away from a $3,500 offer from a baseball team and began working with the YMCA for less than $83 per month. My life was no longer about money, but about God. Soon I started working with a tent evangelist named Wilbur Chapman. I gained much experience in evangelism and very quickly discovered that God had given me a special talent and heart for that work. This led me to begin holding tent meetings on my own, the first being in Garner, Iowa in 1896. At the height of this ministry, I was holding meetings in every major American city, with tens of thousands in attendance. In many cities, special buildings called tabernacles had to be built because the crowds were so large. I had ministry teams on the ground weeks ahead of most campaigns, holding prayer meetings and building relationships with churches before I arrived. God blessed abundantly. Often bars and nightclubs would close down when we came to town. Many never opened their doors again. I preached the gospel to millions as I journeyed city to city for decades. I was the first evangelist Billy Graham ever heard preach. Religious stuffed shirts from dying churches often criticized me and my methods, yet God used me to reach a whole generation of youth for Him, and to even inspire their parents to return to God and His work. They called me a common man from the common people, a man continually criticized as unrefined by fastidious folks to whom sweat is vulgar and calloused hands are bad form. I died in 1935, right after preaching a message on what must I do to be saved. Although I had received millions of dollars and met presidents and many very wealthy people, my estate was worth only $50,000 at the time of my death, because I had given away so much money to missionaries, people in need, and charitable organizations like the American Red Cross. I leave you now with some of the things I used to say, things which I pray you will find moving and inspirational. The world is wrong side up. It needs to be turned upside down in order to be right side up. More men fail through lack of purpose than lack of talent. Going to church doesn't make you a Christian any more than going to a garage makes you an automobile. Hypocrites in the church? Yes, and in the lodge, and at the home. Don't hunt through the church for a hypocrite. Go home and look in the mirror. Hypocrites? Yes. See that you make the number one less. If you don't do your part, don't blame God. Try praising your wife, even if it does frighten her at first. They tell me a revival is only temporary. So is a bath, but it does you good. Hell is the highest reward that the devil can offer you for being a servant of his. Conversion is a complete surrender to Jesus. It's a willingness to do what he wants you to do. I believe the Bible is the Word of God from cover to cover. What have you given the world it never possessed before you came? Live so that when the final summons comes, you will leave something more behind you than an epitaph on a tombstone or an obituary in a newspaper. Personal liberty is not personal license.
as much when God is in it. Labor not for wealth or fame or fame. There's a crown, and you